This man is from Haikyuu. How dare you? How dare you? How dare you disrespect my man Kageyama,
Sports anime.
the king of the court? How dare you, Yosi? Oh my day! I'm
Sports
upset. Was that an
anime.
aneurysm?
Woo. I've never watched it. I've never watched a single sports anime before.
You've never watched? Okay, fine. Has anyone else watched
No,
Haikyuu?
actually 21.
No one else has watched Haikyuu?
No.
Oh, no, it's a beautiful. Okay, fine. Let me
Volleyball.
just give some detail. It's about
I've heard it's
volleyball,
good.
and you would think that it would be so basic. It's so good, and the rivalry that this guy has with the main character. At first, they start off as bitter rivals, but then they end up on the same team. And even in season 3 and 4, we're still watching them every episode. I want to get. Oh, Hinata got better. Okay, I need to get better. How do I adapt? How do I like? It's a beautiful. I would say that they belong in A, but I know that no one else has a reference point. But like that's where I would say he belongs. No one can really challenge this. I could put him in S, and for all you guys know, he would just have to stay there. So. Yeah.
I'm going to challenge you, Solomon. I'm not sure how much I could trust your judgment after trying to put the G in D.
Days.
So I'm saying I'm going to veto and bump this to a B.
I agreed to C. I agreed to C. Come on.
I don't. The thing is, I don't know about Haikyuu because A is a pretty high rank for someone without any credibility.
You're saying this guy is a Gary?
You said a lot of wayward choice. You said a lot of wayward words, Solomon. I don't know.
Actually, like, you know what? I've not watched Haikyuu, but I've watched some videos about Haikyuu, and this rivalry has been mentioned. So I've heard that it's a pretty decent. It's a pretty decent.
I have shed tears.
Rivalry. So if you want to do A, I'll stick by you with this. But remember that I did this for you, Solomon.
I can really think about.
To be honest, I think A is probably suitable because, like Solomon said, he's the only one who knows this.
Okay.
If it's a credible rivalry, then I think A is like a good position.
Yeah.
Or do
S is kind of like
it's an amazing rivalry. That's what I was just about to say.
amazing rivalry, yeah. So I was gonna say A. A is
B is a broken rivalry where like you're not fair. C is they kind of chase each other. A is a good rivalry. S seems to be a rivalry that is amazing. And
listeners across the world, let us know if Solomon's right or not. And if he's wrong, slander him, not us. We don't know.
Slander him. We'll find a replacement quickly.
Listen.
Joking.
So, why don't you know you can't escape me?
He's got Hero Academy. He's got Hero Academy.
I'm in a fortress, man, I feel trapped. King of the hill, but I'm still under attack. And I feel less inside when these weapons fly. And ain't nobody got my back. Cause I feel my aggressive when I'm under pressure. I'm losing my focus, I'm missing my steps.
Yo. Okay, yeah. So the next guy on the list.
I don't know about this one.
No, listen to me. Based on the criteria that we set, I actually have solid arguments as to why this guy needs to be at least A, if not S. I'll start him off here.
What?
No, but as I no wait, listen.
This is why we got
Wait.
Q down to B, just for that. Q down to B. Your judgment is
Wait. You need to listen. Hear me out. Hear me out. Listen. Okay, look. So,
unbelievable.
I compare, in my opinion, Shoto and Midoriya is Sasuke versus Naruto done right. In my opinion, right? Now, wait. Let me finish. Because I wasn't sure.
Man.
No. See, here's the thing. But you know I hate Deku, right? But let me explain, because I actually sat down and thought this is actually the longest section in the notes that I made, right? Because how do I explain? They come together in such an interesting way. So first of all, he also has a tragic backstory and everything. It's a lot more realistic than Sasuke's in terms of his motivations and how he conducts himself and all that kind of stuff. He's just a more realistic person in general than Sasuke, right? Like, I can see his philosophy, I can see his ideologies, and they're all clear to me. Whereas with Sasuke, it's just, okay, I guess I'm doing this now. Okay, I guess I'm doing that now. So just in that, because a rivalry is only as good as the people who are in it, as the characters who you're invested in. So in that alone, I would say that he elevates the rivalry to that tier. Now, second of all, he and Deku are actual equals, right? I watched a Nuxtaku video. I think I mentioned that, like, I was watching Nuxtaku to get ready for this, right? And he made a lot of these points in back in 2017 before he started doing hentai, and I agreed, right? Because he and Deku and Shoto Deku and Shoto. Deku and Shoto are actually rivals in power. Now, I know that the scope of their rivalry isn't as big, the powers that they throw around aren't as huge, but throughout the time that we've seen them, One for All, even though Deku hasn't fully mastered it, is just as powerful as Icy Hot, whereas Shoto didn't have complete control of the fire side, so they were actually equals in that fight. Either of them could have won. The only reason that Shoto clearly won was because Deku helped him, right? And so, in my opinion, because they're rivals in power, that puts them above Naruto and Sasuke. So I would argue that they would be at least in B to start off, right? Is that fair?
Okay,
Solomon. In the words of Stephen A. Smith, I agree with everything you just said. But this is why you're wrong. Because first of all, how dare you? How dare you? How dare you? Number one, I feel sorry for your notes, because how on earth did this take so much space in your notes?
Honestly.
That's disrespectful for all the other rivalries you've considered.
I'm not even done, though.
How dare you? How do you? What? It's not even. Listen, Bakugo Deku is more a credible rivalry than this brother and Deku.
Solomon, I've got a question for you. Solomon, I've got a question for you. How, after that tournament arc, what is the rivalry between those two?
It's literally nothing.
And that is an extremely good question, right? Because there are a lot of different ways that it can go. However, when Deku was fighting against Stain, now obviously the anime hasn't gone super far, so we haven't been able to see everything develop. But when Deku was fighting Stain, Shoto as a person was very cold, very reserved. And this is, again, the development is why I want to put it above B, right? Because they have that first encounter. After Naruto and Sasuke fought for the first time and their ideologies were set, we never really see any changes. Like, what does Sasuke want? What is everything happening? Now, after that first fight that he had with Deku in the ring, when Deku's fighting Satan and he sends out a call, what does Shoto tell his father? His father, who he doesn't want to talk to, was like, look, I need you to trust me. My friend is in danger. That's the first time Shoto has ever acknowledged anybody is anything. And it's such a drastic shift from where his character was to where it is now. And it's Deku that inspired that change. Meanwhile, Shoto inspired the change.
That doesn't make them
That's good character.
That's a
wait.
Yeah,
No. And that's what I'm saying, because he still wants to surpass Deku. So there's still that relevance of them being in each other's mind, because Deku knows that he needs to be stronger than everyone in his class to be number one, and Shoto is directly competing with him to prove a point that he's stronger than All Might's protege. So there is still that rivalry. So in my opinion, just because of that consistency and because of the actual shifts in dynamic and the complexity of the character, it's an actual rivalry, right? We see progress being made on both sides.
I've got a question.
In the context of the anime only, even Bakugo has a stronger claim.
Wait,
I agree.
Much stronger claim.
Okay, go ahead.
I would say high C.
I've got a question. So if S is for the most memorable, A is for working, B is for one where one of them acknowledges the other, when none of them acknowledge each other as rivals, but it's nuanced to their minds, what place do you think it should be in this ranking?
No. So that's why I'm saying, okay, S was obviously a stretch. I was genuinely thinking A for him, because for me it's a rivalry and it works. For me it's a rivalry. I feel like you guys are hating on My Hero. You got to see, because
no, wait. Solomon,
we've read the manga
let me
as
tell you
well.
something.
We've read it.
Yeah.
After Stain, Deku and Todoroki are barely in the same room again. They do interact sometimes, but barely. Like for the rest of the anime and the manga, they're hardly together.
Okay, see, here's the I don't know. I don't read the manga, so based on where because based on where the anime. But see, here's again. I don't. You guys talked about Kakashi and Guy, right? And you guys were like, okay, your argument for Kakashi and Guy.
Don't say you guys.
No, okay, fine.
Some of you argue for a good point.
No, some of you argue for Kakashi and Guy. We literally only saw the beginning and the end of the rivalry, and you guys were praising it. So I'm just like, we see some of the building.
We had the fillers too. That's my opinion. I didn't know that was a filler.
No, but the fillers aren't canon, right? And for me, like, even if they're not in the same room. Oh, okay, fair enough. No, but for me, it's like, okay, even if they aren't in the same room, for me, just that knowledge that they acknowledge each other as rivals, because we know that Shoto because him referring to him as a friend is an acknowledgement of his power and the experience that they shared, in my opinion, right? So I know that Shoto acknowledges Deku and wants to surpass him. I know that Deku wants to suppress Shoto. It's stated multiple times. So I admit, I don't know where the manga goes, but even during the provisional license arc, Deku's, Shoto's looking at all the progress Deku's making, and he's like, okay, we need to hurry up. So even if they're not in the same room doing the same thing, I still see them wanting to be stronger than each other, right? So that's why I say it's a rivalry that works.
I think it's more like the way you're describing it. I think it's more one-sided because like Deku's aim is to be the number one, so he's literally competing with everyone. But Shoto seems to be competing with Deku, so I feel like it's more of a one-sided thing.
But
because I don't think Deku's specifically going for
Yosi.
Yeah,
but he's directly.
There's only one person who Deku has actually looked up to and for, obviously apart from All Might. There's only one other person who Deku's been like, I want to be stronger or prove I'm stronger than him. That's
for some reason.
I don't know why.
No.
But that's obviously because they've had that relationship when they were.
I disagree.
He got bullied.
I disagree. That's actually not true. That's actually not true because it has been stated before. Not looked up to, but decided that he needs to be stronger than. He has directly acknowledged Shoto's strength and said that if I want to be number one, I need to be better than you. So even though he wants to be better than everyone, yes, he has singled Shoto out before and said, I need to be stronger than you because you are clearly closer to the top. So like that's a direct acknowledgement on both parts. Like, I feel like all of the pieces are there. Like if for instance, if all of these pieces were there, Sasuke was in B initially, right? And he doesn't have half of the things that I've just described in terms of his relationship with Naruto. So for all of these pieces to be there and be working, I feel like
I got. Do you view the Bakugo Deku rivalry as more or less than the Shoto one?
I view the Bakugo Deku as more, most definitely. Like I was my initial ranking. I was going to put them both.
It would definitely be like an S.
No, I was going to put them both in A. Right? I was going to put Bakugo as a high A and Shoto and Deku as a low A. If we had an A minus, I would probably put it there.
Nah.
Because like all of the pieces are there.
Has one defining rival. I hear you, but a rivalry, again, I feel like a defining rivalry always comes down to a relationship between either two distinct groups or two. I think the second you start spreading them across multiple people, it now becomes him versus the world he lives in. Like One Punch Man, it's hard to say he has a rivalry in his world where he's just the best.
Well, then, I mean, if that's the case, then shouldn't Vegeta be lower? Because that's exactly Goku's deal. He's had tons of rivals.
That's why I said it depends. In that case, it depends on whose perspective you're looking at. If you're looking at it from Goku's, it's like everyone's world is like out there. But if you're looking at Vegeta sees this wall and this person that he must get better. Like he doesn't like losing against. He's the Prince of Saiyans. He should be leading all Saiyans. How can there be a Saiyan that doesn't fall under his heel? And it pushes him, it makes him better. So even though you can say it's one-sided, and that's why I say it's still a legit rivalry. Like maybe it's not, Goku does acknowledge it, but he doesn't maybe acknowledge it enough, or it's not balanced enough, is what I would have said anyways.
No, but thing is, there's a key difference here. With Vegeta, even though Goku might not acknowledge it properly, the truth of the matter is he's kept up. Yeah. Shoto has not kept up with Deku.
What do you? Okay, maybe in the manga it changes.
He hasn't kept up with Deku.
As far as the anime has shown, he's still
probably
stronger than Deku.
Like,
no, but that's what I'm saying. I'm not saying like it's just the truth of the matter. We can't say.
I don't think anything's changed from where the anime is now to where the manga is in terms of the
Deku's power.
Actually, no, sorry, that's a lie.
Thank you.
Okay, that's a lie, but still, I'm not gonna hold that again because like Deku's basically a cheat code anyway, so I'm not gonna hold that against him. No, but I don't know. I feel like I understand your point, Solomon, and I feel like we need to see more. Like maybe that will be explored more, but at the moment, even based on what I've seen in that, I'm even up to the point in the anime, I'm just not. I don't know. I just never felt that rivalry too much. Like I get your points, but I don't rate it that high.
I still think it's Bakugo's a better rivalry.
No, I think Bakugo's better, but see, again, I'll leave it because we're gonna spend the whole day here. My thing is just like I see all of the pieces there where if any of these pieces were in place for some of the characters lower on the list, they'd be higher on the list, right? Like when it comes, because everything that MK just said about Okay, yeah, not wrong. But like everything that Vegeta just said about Vegeta also applies to Shoto, but like in a more consistent way because yeah, Vegeta's a principal Saiyan, he needs to be stronger than all Saiyans. Well, Shoto was abused since he was a child to surpass All Might, so now he wants to surpass his protege to prove a point to the father that abused him and to All Might himself, right? So the motivation is there, it's consistent. Like I see all the pieces.
I get what you mean.
I'll
go for B.
I'll leave it. I'll leave it in B. I'll leave it in B.
Yeah.
Wait. I want to argue that point. No, actually, you know what? We should just leave it. But I was gonna say, Shoto's motivation definitely isn't to surpass All Might. Or like, I think he even, if anything, he not regrets. But what's the word when you have a hatred towards his father's ambition? I can even argue that to be fair, because it's almost look at the trauma that his father's ambition caused him.
Yeah, but when he was talking to Deku, what he said to him was, he wants to do what his father wants, but in the worst possible way in order to spite him. He wanted to beat Deku without using the fire side to prove a point that he could achieve what his father wanted, but without using the fire side, i.e. saying that I don't need you. You are not surpassing All Might. I am, basically, was the message he was trying to send.
But remember,
right?
But the thing is, at this point in time, no one knows that Deku's ability, besides Bakugo, is All Might's ability.
No, but so remember the talk that, Shoto directly told Deku this, where he was like, I see that, All Might takes a special interest in you. You guys' quirks are very similar, all that kind of stuff. You're his protege. So he was clearly connecting those dots. Like, that was clearly his motivation when he was fighting. But let's move on. Let's move on to the next one. Like, I'm happy to leave you in B. Yeah.
I'm about to go Super Saiyajin. Feel the fire coming off my skin. In the future, that's where I've been. So I'm about to tell y'all where the end begins. It's all black, where my kin. It's cold outside, I need to bring y'all in.